Before I begin, please breathe, relax, and surrender to your body. Surrender to the part of your body which is below your head, to your torso, your belly, and your chest. You need to surrender so deeply that it feels like almost you have no head. The idea of surrender to the body was introduced in the teaching relatively recently. I refer to it also as conscious incarnation. It is crucial that you grasp the significance and the importance of that surrender into your body. Because it is something really profound. It may sound nothing special, it may sound ordinary, or some may even associate it with the idea of being in the body. And that is, part of the collective mind. Is such idea also exists in New Age. But there's one problem with that idea. These people are not in the body. They just speak about being in the body. Because nobody is in the body. It's not that there's a group of people who are not in the body. No one is in the body. You are not in the body. At least I hope this has been corrected. And if it was, you were not in the body until very recently. Not at all. That idea may sound strange, because unconsciously we assume that we are in the body. And the reason we assume this is because we have no idea what it actually means to be in the body. People are not in the body, they're just connected to the body through nervous system. It's like, imagine you attached to an AI, artificial intelligence, torso, legs, and hands, so that it looks like a human being. can manipulate those legs and hands, and we can register what is happening there on a sensory basis, but is not in that body. After that last retreat in Greece, I had free time. I was working at the airport in Greece and Turkey after, and it was so strange, even comical, to see people, to see from that perspective that no one is in the body. They are not even in the head. Because to be in the head, you need obviously to awaken consciousness. You need to enter with consciousness. And even though the person theoretically is present in the front of the head, since the person is generally unconscious, so there's not even person to be in that small part of the head, there's just the mind. We may have all kinds of ideas what enlightenment signifies, ground ideas. But actually enlightenment is about entering the body. Those who look for enlightenment, they want the body to dissolve, they want to go beyond the body or somewhere in some mysterious realms, not of this world. It is also ungrounded and unrealistic and false. They have not incarnated, and now they want to go beyond that body, which they are not even inhibiting. Can you see the paradox here? Entering the body has nothing to do with coming back to materialistic standpoint, physical standpoint. It is actually deeply spiritual, because that spirit which you are is realizing itself in the body through the immanency of that physical form. And you will see the magic and the miracle of it if you surrender to your body. The difficulty with surrender to the body, the challenging part is that you cannot just tell anyone to surrender to the body, because to surrender to the body you need to activate spiritual intelligence. Otherwise, the concept of being in the body will just it will inspire you to connect to your body through psychosomatic intelligence. So you'll feel more connected. You'll be more connected to something that is still outside of you, that is still, you have not entered it. Because how can you? Only emanating intelligence, the one who gives birth to emanation consciousness, only that one can enter the body. And from within the body, realize deeper dimensions of self, deeper dimension of love, deeper dimensions of being, deeper dimension of emotional existence. By entering the body, we are not simply entering the body in a it's not just about entering that form in which we live. It's about giving birth to another body from within the physical body, which is the spiritual body. Spiritual body represents the complete realization of the soul, and it is the body that survives the physical body and lives in eternity. Imagine that you die and you move to some kind of a place after death, but you have not awakened the spiritual body. What are you? You are just the mind. You have no ground, you have no stability, you have no substance. You just have no body. A terrible situation. This is why you incarnated in the human form in order to have a body. But the problem here is that you have not really incarnated, because being born as a human represents actually pre-incarnated state. So now you are pre-incarnated. You are actually in between being a ghost, living in some kind of a ether, and being a human. Let go into your body, and you will see the magic of it. Embody your body with pure subjectivity. Fill your body with yourself. Enter the temple. We don't have so much time, so I need to move to the subject of the realization of the emotional self. That is one of the results of entering the body. It was a revelation given at the end of the last retreat in Greece. I already spoke about surrender to emotions, surrender to the emotional body, but surrender to the main emotional center in the solar plexus, not just to the emotions in the solar plexus, is something new. Emotional center is hidden within the solar plexus. It functions through all those emotions that you experience that are mostly disturbing: fears, anxieties, control, anger, but it is itself unconscious. And yet, emotional center is the base of our emotional existence. It's like who you are emotionally, fundamentally. You cannot know it unless you realize your emotional center. Unless you embody that emotional center. It's very important. Even for the awakening of the heart. How can you awaken the heart on a deeper level if you do not have the base of that emotional self? It's like there's no foundation. After all, heart is the further development of the emotional self, something that comes on top of it in evolution. Emotional self exists in the solar plexus, which is a center of the parasympathetic nervous system. That is responsible for our survival, fight and flight response, the center of fear, self-preservation and protection. This is why people do not like, those who are conscious of it, like many of you are, do not like to go to solar plexus because it's not comfortable. There are just too many things happening there that are disturbing. And going there, yet you must. You need to go deeper because there's more there than meets the eye. Beyond all these, the usual emotions that you experience there, emotional fluctuations. Emotional self, it's at the root of the emotional self is the original emotion. And what is this original emotions? Love to exist. I want to exist. Because without that original emotion, we would not exist. There would be no reason to exist. It is that emotion that makes us exist. We'll do anything to exist because we are serving that emotion. We are that emotion. And it is because of that love to exist, which is unconscious at first, all those emotions, they relate to survival and fear of not surviving. manifest as well from that center. Because that center wants to protect itself. It loves to exist, but it has to face many challenges in order to keep existing. So it activates self-protection mode in order to assure its survival. That's why you are afraid. Why you are afraid? Because of that original emotion. Because that original emotion is not realized. It only functions on an instinctual level. It exists on an instinctual level, like an animal. Like you have that animal, and we are very similar like animals in this respect, in your belly. It just wants to exist and is afraid not to exist. It's completely disempowered. So, realization of the emotional self, emotional center, is about bringing empowerment to our emotional existence. It's also empowerment energetically, because that center is as well energy center, power, energy center. Through awakening of the emotional center, that is the only way to transform our emotional existence and reaching empowerment and freedom and dissolving all the layers of fears that we have accumulated, living in emotional unconsciousness. That love to exist has to be consciously realized. It has to be realized as love. Not just as love to exist, as love to be. To exist in itself. Emotional center is so important. It's like without that center, you are uprooted. You literally do not have emotional guts. You're like so up in the air, so disconnected. You don't know who you are as a human, as a alive, living, breathing human being. You don't know who you are. Because that emotional center is who you are. Not all what you are, but it is the foundation of who you are. You must realize it. You must become it. And you must go beyond all the superficial, fearful emotions in your solar plexus, deep to the root, becoming one with that original emotion of the emotional center. Because this is where love to exist and exist to love can meet, become one. Now, how to enter the emotional center. It's not enough to be aware of your solar plexus, because that emotional center is deep in the solar plexus, is hidden. And the only way to enter there, as we have concluded, is by mastering the correct breathing. Actually, breathing takes you there. Otherwise, you have no access. Not just breathing, exhalation takes you there. But for that, you need to master complete exhalation. And this is a strange thing. I've been talking about belly breathing for so many years and about complete exhalation for so many years. But it was only relatively complete exhalation. It's like you surrender into being, you let go with exhalation, and eventually exhalation reaches its end, and this is complete exhalation. Well, yes and no. There is another complete exhalation, which is more complete. The other one was close to complete, but not enough. We don't have much time, so I will just quickly guide you through it in case you didn't listen to talks at the end of the last retreat. As you exhale, you can take a deeper breath and let go with exhalation. It's an important point that you are simultaneously letting go into the body, into being with exhalation. Because you have to be in the belly, you see? If you are not in the belly, you cannot properly breathe. And to be in the belly, you have to surrender to your belly. So as you reach the end of exhalation, what you think is the end, then you purposely squeeze your belly. The upper portion of your belly, below the diaphragm. Push it. push it while exhaling. Push it to the point that there is zero air left in your lungs. Of course, without going overboard, without getting like all tense, just, sensitively push your belly as much as it seems reasonable. And you will see that some air comes out. You thought it was complete exhalation, but there's still some air comes out. Then you relax your belly and let the inhalation naturally to expand your diaphragm. And again, falling. Surrender with exhalation, pushing until there's no air left. And again, relaxing and inhaling. That pushing results in something similar to what is called stomach or belly vacuum. Some yogis are doing it, or builders. But it's not a stomach vacuum because it is higher. Stomach vacuum is more on the level of the belly button. That vacuum happens like 3 fingers more or less above the belly button. But it should not be manipulated. It should come naturally. We call it caved in belly breathing because your belly is caving in. And that caving in allows you not only to experience complete exhalation, but you will be able to inhale much deeper. Like it's like, if you are able really to do it, it's like for the first time, you actually take the proper inhalation. You never really inhaled properly. You were like semi-suffocating. Even if you were breathing through the belly, it was still very much incomplete. So you will see. Initially, you may want to push a little bit, like to make sure that this caving in happening. But very soon, it should become natural. You don't feel like you are doing anything out of ordinary. But remember, that naturalness comes from surrender. So with exhalation, you need to surrender fully. And the muscle of your belly reciprocates, it responds properly as it should. So initially, that little bit pushing is just reconditioning you, and is developing certain muscle memory in your belly, because your belly has to also learn. Your muscles need to learn. But as I said, very soon it should become natural. So when you let go, with exhalation, it's called the first exhalation. You remember in the work with being, we speak about first and second exhalation, or even third. That is the first exhalation. First exhalation is actually the most powerful. Second exhalation, which we use to deepen being, is weaker, it's more diluted. There's just vital force flowing. Here it's an actual breath going in, returning to the 0 point. And what is the 0 point of breath? Emotional center. Original emotion is the 0 point of breath. The breath has to return there. Your belly has to cave in. When you are lying down, fully relaxed, it is easier. Still not ever, for some people, no. I should say, if you were surrendered to the body already to a great degree, when you are lying down, it should come relatively easy, that cave in, belly breathing. But even so, you can still consciously deepen it when you are lying down. And then, of course, do the same when you are sitting. And the same when you are walking. And the same as when you are running. It should become all day natural breathing. When you are running, is easier, more difficult to identify because you are breathing faster, but it's same breath. Very deep breathing. It gives you much more oxygen, so your cardio capacities should improve a lot. But that is, secondary. Then what happens next is, as the exhalation returns to the 0 point, which is the emotional center, it activates it. First, it activates it energetically, energy power center, which is very, very energetically nurturing and healing. Basically, you should feel much more rejuvenated and energized just by that breathing. But then you need to, in that surrender, because remember, when you let go with exhalation, this caved in breathing, belly breathing, your emanating intelligence is one with breath, and your emanating intelligence is entering the emotional self, emotional center. And this is what the next step comes in. You need to recognize that emotional center. And you need to become one with it, and you need to embody it at all times. It's not just that you experience it now and then. You must be one with your emotional center at all times. You need to be in your solar plexus at all time. When we are dealing with this healing work, trying to dissolve uncomfortable emotions, the general tendency or the general desire was, let it be the end of it. Let this emotion disappear so I don't feel anything in the solar plexus. But now it is just the opposite. You must feel fully your solar plexus. It's at its very core. You must embody your emotion center. You must awaken emotionally to the root of your emotional existence. Awakening of the emotional center has other implications, such as from now on we are going to reach the absolute from the emotional center, from the solar plexus. So, because that center is also the upper Tantien, through which we are supposed to reach the absolute in a proper way, in a more empowered way, and in the body. Before, the absolute was going beyond the body, you see, bypassing the body. There was this tendency in the teaching, universal consciousness out of the head, absolute below the body. It was all good, but it was we are missing something of the more greatest importance, which is realization of ourselves in the body, entering the body, and actualizing the spiritual body. You cannot actualize the spiritual body by going out of the body. You have to be in the body. Anyway, the absolute state is now supposed to be experienced in the body. But for that, you need to realize the emotional center first, so that from that center you can surrender. You can enter the absolute. So, letting go with exhalation. Take inhalation, let go with exhalation. More, until the caving in your belly, upper belly takes place. If you are not certain, a little bit push until for sure your exhalation has ended. And you surrender into this point of end, fully surrender and merge with it. That is your emotional self. Feel it in your guts, this depth of your solar plexus. Feel it. This is what makes you human. This is what makes you anything. Without that, you are emotionally uprooted. That emotional self, remember, the original is the original emotion. Love to exist. And when you become one with it, that exist returns to love. And you exist to love, eventually. That's the beginning of the process. In terms of dealing with any emotions that you may experience, I will speak of these things the coming retreat and just say it shortly. If you get emotionally agitated, fearful, which happens not in the main center of the solar plexus, not in the emotional center, but outside of it. It's like the emotional manifestations of that center that I experience closer to the surface of your belly. This is where they are being captured through conscious recognition. You surrender to them. But you surrender not just to them and merge with them so that they can dissolve in peace, into peace. You surrender into the emotion center. And on the way, you merge with everything what is in between. And then they will dissolve, or they will become quiet. But it's not even about changing them. It's about changing yourself. It's about the place from which you experience your emotions. Now you experience your emotions from your newly awakened emotional self, emotional center, from the place of empowerment. You can say, oh, I am experiencing these emotions. That emotional self is saying it, not your mind is saying it. And it's okay, because I have the power. Power bestowed to me by the origin knowledge. Love to exist. Surrender to your body at all times. Your intelligence has to shift from your head to your body. Surrender all your emotions from the mind. There's no place for emotions in the head. Surrender everything to your body and become one with that. And now, the priority is that you enter your emotional center. And to do so, you need to master the caved-in belly breathing. I know from the last retreat, students were practicing it, and some were more, successful in it, but not really understanding why they are doing it. Okay, the breathing feels better, but there's a deeper reason why you do it. You do it to exist. Before that, you were suffocating, because breathing is existing. And that caved-in belly breathing is the only complete breathing there is. And because you are able to truly exist through that complete breathing, this is why you naturally get in touch with the main reason why you exist, which is love to exist. And this is why you get in touch with the emotion center, where that original emotion is, in which this original emotion is present. It's all connected. It's a magic. breathe fully, completely. Exhale completely, so you can inhale completely. You don't have to suffocate anymore. Physically and emotionally. So when you breathe fully and completely, you can also breathe emotionally. And we will continue in the coming retreat.